Okay, this was like normal business. All right. My workshop was an absolute failure. Success for me in a workshop is I produce a document with lessons learned. Okay, all we did was produce a document of blame. All right. Everybody blamed each other for the problems. We could not get down to a root cause. It was just a mess. And you see that picture on the right-hand side. It wasn't me. It was everybody else, but it wasn't me. So there was fragmentation. There were silos. People were protecting themselves. There was no synergy. And everybody was very, very unhappy because they had failed. You know, when I say anybody fails in an organization, that makes them fail. Because leadership has got to put the things in place that we create a successful workplace. And one of those is obviously having a happy workforce. Okay. So the Pareto principle that came out of that session, which was very, very interesting. And this is where workplace gamification triggered in my head. Because in that workshop, 80% of all of the information that was given came from 20% of the people. Everybody else shut up because they were too scared of the seniors in the session. Where it should have been the other way around. 80% of the team that were in that workshop should have given the information, and we would have, gone and solved the root cause. So we had to change our strategy because we had to pick this project up and make it successful. We could not make the same mistakes again. So how did we do this thing? Well, we had to everybody. We needed to hear everybody's voice. No, not everybody's voice. That those teams needed to be part of the evolution of the business but also the success of this project taking it forward. And we're not happy. We had to create an environment where people's voices have been heard, that they can evolve with this project, and that they can actually be happy in the work that they're doing. And happiness is also getting the reward, the recognition, and remember, also having that healthy competition. So what did we do? We created something called Perspective, a workplace gamification methodology with a technology that aligned to it. And you'll see later other technology that has been built that Arthur is going to be using in his business. And it was all driven around systems thinking. Yeah, that was one of the components of the workplace gamification methodology that we put in place. And things work better when they work together on purpose. So that's the first thing that we had to get the organization to understand. There are cogs in the wheel. And if any of those cogs aren't turning or not meeting each other properly, then the purpose ain't going to work. It's going to be slow. It's going to be, it's not going to be agile. We then also brought design thinking into the process, and a lot of focus around empathizing. Empathizing is great. Empathizing is about listening. Empathizing is about feeling with somebody. Okay? It's not about blaming and pointing fingers. So if we want to get to a process where we're creating a resolution, where we're creating a better world for our organization, design thinking is one of those processes. So taking systems thinking, taking design thinking, and then modern agile project management, and pulling those things together into a workplace gamification methodology worked extremely well. So we combined these elements. Now, as a project management company, agile project management is really great. It's not a new way of project management, but it's become a very progressive way of managing projects. And if you look at that diagram, agile project management is all about making people feel awesome. And isn't that what workplace gamification is about? Isn't it about taking happy people and making them happy? Well, awesome. Recognize, reward them, and create healthy competition. That's how we make people feel awesome. Deliver value continuously. If we deliver value continuously, we'll feel, and we'll just continue delivering. Okay. Hence, workplace gamification plays a very, very important role, and you're going to see me close it off now. Make safety a prerequisite. And it's not only about safety in terms of harm of body and so forth. It's emotional safety. Okay, that humility that gives us safety. And experiment and learn rapidly. So workplace gamification allows us to go through a process where we can experiment. And guess what? It's okay to fail also. It's also okay to bump our heads, because we can react very, very fast to it in this gamified workplace environment. We don't only realize the mistakes when we get to them right at the end. So it's about amalgamating these three areas of management and technology. And this is what we built from a gamification perspective. So we said, okay, our first workshop was an absolute failure. I mean, they even blamed me because the project wasn't going so well, and I was just the facilitator. So it didn't go down well. I'd used something before, and it's called the ZOUD, the zone of uncomfortable debate. And many times we have to get into a zone of uncomfortable debate to get into the zone of comfortable debate. And workplace gamification allows for this. It allows for us to have the debates in a safe environment. It allows us to build the roadmap in a safe environment. Even if we think we are blaming each other, it's about working it together so that we can drive success in a happy environment. So we took this concept into the workshop. So we want to move from the heart of the matter. Okay, that's what we want to get out. We want to understand what the goals are. What are we trying to achieve? How are we going to? But what's important? How are we going to reward each other? How are we going to recognize the work that we are doing? And how do we create a healthy environment of competition that we can all succeed together? But we have to sort out the zone of uncomfortable area first, and that is going through healthy debates, through a good facilitated process, using the gamification methodology, and you'll see now. Okay, so this is the process flow. You can see I'm a project manager, so this is what we did, and I'm going to show you what came out of this. Beautiful. Just to prove to you how well gamification works, well, workplace gamification. So the first thing we did is we empathized with that team. Now you can imagine they all felt like failures. Everybody was blaming themselves. And we said, put that aside. We are going to take a game, we're going to bring it into the business process, and we're going to sort this thing out. And we went through empathizing. And empathizing helped everybody understand one thing. Their intention wasn't to make the project fail. It was nobody's intention. It were lots of other things, but if the intention was good, how can you blame somebody? Okay, so that was number one. We then set the goals going forward. So we sorted the empathizing out. You know, we applied the humility to everybody. And then we introduced the gamification as a core method. And I'm going to show you the result of that now. We then broke seniors up into work groups. So now this is the gamification workshop that we had. It wasn't a game. We applied process, project management process, their business processes, and the game. Okay. And what we did is when we broke the teams up, 4 people per table, they built this project management office solution that the CEO wanted. They built it by hand. And I'll show you the picture now. They physically built the solution in a boardroom using their hands. And then from there, we created the scope and the plan and all of the other stuff that came out of it. Okay. We combined all the efforts of all the things that they built. I'm going to show you that picture now into a final product. Okay. We developed a project scope out of this build that they did. We developed a detailed project plan out of what they built. We built an incentive scheme around the project for all team members, internal to the organization and external. And I'll explain to you how we did that. It was rewards through websites, and people could go and cash in on points, and there were badges and shirts and all of those great things, because that's what makes gamification successful and gamification. We then branded the project, because people need to be associated to a performing brand, to a healthy brand. We like wearing Nikes, don't we? Yeah, we like drinking Starbucks coffee. So we want to be associated to a successful brand. I think you can see now it's not only about playing a game, it's a process that we work through here. And then we ran apps on a website where people got recognition and they could go and trade their points in for all different movie tickets and spa days and weekend holidays and also and so forth. But I'll show you how we set up the parameters. But what I've just taken you to, remember, the executive team built the solution. And there it is. Okay, now these are senior executives of a client of mine. When I say senior, I mean these are owners of the business, of a very, very successful company, very, very wealthy company. You know, they can spend billions on major capital projects. And there they are in a boardroom, and they built their solution. So we had the business process, project process. Now we brought the game, the mechanics into it. And that's the final result. That's it. This year that you're seeing on this plate was a successful implementation of one of the best project management offices, and I'd like to say so myself, ever built. And that it came from this gamification process. So we built the game. From the game, we got the product scope. We built a detailed project plan. From this, what they built with their hands, and then we implemented a 17-month project based on what you're seeing on this plate in front of you. So a very, very creative way, bringing systems thinking, design thinking, agile into a gamification methodology. Okay, so quite interesting, and it worked really well, and I've used this a couple of times. Then what we did, so now we had the scope of the project sorted out. We said to the team, okay, how are we going to incentivize you? How are we going to give you points for good work? How are we going to give you points for completing milestones earlier? How are we going to reward you for spending less money, etc. on the project? Okay, as a collective and as sub-project teams. Because as you know, a project is made up of smaller sub-projects. So we'd have construction, you'd have plumbing, you'll have electrical, you'll have the drafting, and those were separate teams that were performing to achieve the same goal. So we said, okay, well, now we're going to create healthy competition between these sub-projects against cost, schedule, and happiness indicators. So we built a game board. So we took business strategy, we took the project strategy, and we built the game board. Now, this game board that you see here now was designed and authored by Clem Sunter, South African guy, was very close to Nelson Mandela in the apartheid years, and written a couple of books. After this, you can mail me and I'll send you all of the names. I've actually worked with Clem Sunter. And this is his strategy game board. We've massaged this into a project game board. And I'll explain it to you quickly. So if you see there's a vertical and horizontal axis. Okay, so what you do in a facilitated workshop with the strategy of the organization as your backup. Nothing on your features if it doesn't support the strategy of the business. So we're playing a game here within the context of the strategy of the business. On the top, it says flagship. So the team defined the one word that it's going to make them successful. And this project team says, we're going to deliver a flagship project. It hasn't worked now. We had a Titanic, but now for the rest of this project, it's going to be flagship. On the vertical axis, we're going to have a look and we say, okay, so what is the opposite of flagship? Well, it's failure. Okay. On the horizontal, if we are going to deliver a flagship project, what is the one thing we need to focus on continuously? And the team came up with innovative. We need to be innovative consistently around everything. And if we are not innovative, what are we? Well, then we status quo. That sits on the other side. And what we then did with the teams, we said, okay, what are the things that you must focus on every single day to be a flagship project and to be innovative, or innovative to become a flagship project? And there we go. Safety, courage, inspirational leadership, intelligent governance, dynamic communication, dynamic risk management, accurate performance measurement, breakthrough performance. And that's what they designed through the gamification process. On the bottom, if you're going to innovate and you fail, because you could innovate yourself into failure, they then had to determine what are the things that you have to do to actually fail trying to be innovative. There we go. Analysis paralysis, complex governance, not constructing to scope, selective reporting, and information overload. Let's go to the other side. Doing things as you always do it and set yourself up for failure. Working in silos, neglected governance, conflicting leadership, fragmented communication, destructive compliance, and apathy. Well, what about the top? I can still deliver a flagship project, maintaining my status quo if my business processes are mature and my people are happy. Right, so there is compliance to standards, ad hoc commitment, limited teamwork, insufficient leadership, and selective ownership. Well, we then agreed as a team that we want to work in that top right-hand quadrant all the time. And the incentives and the badges and the T-shirts and everything was centered around that top right-hand quadrant. If you performed in that right-hand quadrant, okay, you were given your rewards and incentives. But if you drop down into any one of the others, you would get penalties. And that's how we created this healthy competition. What we did every single month, you see those stars? We had people doing a dot vote, and everybody would go and stick a dot on where we were on this game board. And sometimes we could see the team moving down, moving up, and depending on the situation of the project, this gave us total goal focus through a gamification process, and you'll see the results that started coming out of the project. So there is the conditions that give us the incentives. What we then did is we branded the project. We had newsletters and we had shirts, we had key rings, we had all of these incentives, the points where people could go and cash in on holidays, and spa vouchers with their wives, and movie tickets for their kids, and so forth. And this was all done on an app, and I'll show that to you now. So we had the themes. We had kings, we had sentries, we had soldiers, and we had people that did intelligence. So we would have kings walking around with their shirts, we'd have sentries, and these were people that guarded the cost and the schedules and all of these good things. We had the soldiers that were really digging in and getting a lot of the work done that most probably wasn't getting done the way that it should have been. And then we had the intelligence people looking after all of the project control. So everybody was given a character on the project. And that just spawned a whole lot of creativity out of the teams. That it almost said, well, you're a very good king and you're a very good intelligence person, so just keep doing what you're doing. Because sometimes we put people in the wrong places. So this worked very, very well for us. We then built the game, the technology, where we tracked the value of the project. Now I want to take you back to that earned value calculation, budget at completion, what I'm paying you times your productivity. So all of the sub-projects had an earned value chart, and we were tracking their earned for the project. And now we had all of these different projects competing with each other, but using the same metrics in this game, using the same processes. This is workplace gamification at its best. And you'll see the stuff that Daryl and Arthur are going to show you now. And this was then published on information radiators. Okay, so it's agile terminology. Information radiators. Radiators are, I radiate information to the organization. There are dashboards, progression in terms of that earned value that we showed you. All of this information was entered in on apps, which made it very easy. It was instantaneous. It was fast. The gratification was quick. The results could be seen quick. And where things weren't working well, we could see it quickly as well. All right, so it was mobile, team performance awards, performance dashboards. We would run surveys on the application. And then the website purchases. I just want to go and explain that quickly. A lot of people cashed in their reward points and took long weekends, which was paid for by their rewards, which was really great. You could go and buy tires for your car. So you knew that like in 3 months' time, my tires are going to wear out. it's my reward is, when I get this all done properly, then I can go and put tires on my car. So you could go and buy all of these things listed on a menu on the project website, which is really cool. All right, there were happiness surveys done, and sometimes it looked like that on the game board, and then we knew exactly where to adjust. What was interesting during the gamification process, when teams changed and new teams came in, that's where we had to play the game again. When you're bringing and changing people, your gamification process sometimes takes a little bit of a wobble. So again, it's a strategy that you put in place to ensure that your workplace gamification has sustainability, because it can fall over if you don't sustain it. And there needs to be a champion that looks after it going forward. Otherwise, it could become a white elephant in the organization. So you have to make sure that it constantly works. Okay, so this project, ahead of schedule and underspend. The project's finished now. So that extra 6 billion, now I've told you how much they had to go and ask for to complete the rest of the work. We were ahead of schedule by 7 months and underspend by 2%. Now that's adding bottom line through workplace gamification by recognition, healthy competition, and rewarding people. That's what makes people happy. You all know Hertzberg theory, hygiene and motivational factors. Focus on those motivational factors. Workplace gamification is a motivational factor. All right, my last words. This is my quote. I love rewarding people for great work. It not only makes me feel great, make them feel great, makes me feel that I belong. And we have super fun along the way. Now, I'm sure all of you have gone and bought Christmas gifts. Doesn't it make you happy when you share that gift with somebody? Makes you feel great, doesn't it? Makes you feel awesome. Makes you feel super great. And when you receive a gift, be it a Christmas present, be an attaboy, a pat on the back, don't you feel good? Don't you feel that you're going to go and put in a little bit more effort? That you're going to earn more value for the organization? Because if you earn value for the organization, you earn value for everybody else. Because sustainability is the name of the game. We can't do things the way that we've been doing them. We can't. And as leaders of organizations, we need to get our act together. We need to take our younger generations, we need to give them the autonomy, the freedom, and the happiness to work. We cannot allow unhappy people to work in our organizations. And you know why, ladies and gentlemen? My last words. If we create unhappy people in our organizations, you know what we're doing? We're creating our own competition. Because those unhappy people are going to leave us, and they're going to create a business that's going to compete with us, and we will not be able to survive. Now, ladies and gentlemen, time for questions and answers. There's the chat box. I finished 4 minutes ahead of schedule. Any questions? I'm going to pop back into the main session.
Okay, awesome. All right, we have a couple of questions, it looks like here. Okay, and the questions are, well, number one is, do you have to have advanced facilitation skills to take teams through the gamification process, or can they do it on their own?
Well, that's a very interesting question, whoever posed that one. There's a big difference between advanced facilitation skills and leadership facilitation skills. Now, advanced facilitation is where you have something like a certified professional facilitator certification through the IAF, the International Association of Facilitators, or you attend my course or Arthur's course on facilitation, and we teach you good facilitation. And all leaders who facilitate in workplace gamification need to have facilitation skills. Everybody needs facilitation skills. So not advanced, but basic good understanding of facilitation, because we collaborate and we're getting the best out of people. So that's the answer.
Absolutely. In fact, I mean, if you actually think about it, you need facilitation skills even in a family. You need to facilitate between your kids. You need to facilitate between you and your wife. I mean, facilitation is not something that, is specifically for trainers. It's about essentially coming to a conclusion that basically you are able to achieve whatever it is that you're trying to achieve. And that could be harmony, it could be cost savings, it could be higher levels of excellence, it could be anything. So facilitation, absolutely, I completely agree with you, Kevin. And we got another question. It says, okay, in workplace gamification, in a project environment, okay, a once-off process, and can it be a repeatable process? Okay, so is it a once-off process or can it be a repeatable process?
Yeah, good question as well. It must be repeatable. As I mentioned earlier, it's the mechanics of games in the business process environment. So the methodology that we've created, we've used it a number of times, understanding that every project is unique. So, it's there to create a unique service, product, or a result. But the process stays exactly the same. The facilitation methods stay the same. Remember, it's achieving a goal through a fully understood and collaborative environment that is fun, that achieves rewards and recognition and healthy competition. So for every project, it must be done, not only once.
Absolutely. Awesome. Okay, so if you've got any questions, okay, so we've got 2 questions so far, okay, any more questions, please go ahead and just put that right into the chat box here where it says Q&A, right under the session tab. So the session tab is the first tab up in the upper right-hand corner. Click on that and then just look for Q&A, or you can also go into, the overall event. Okay, well, either way, we're going to find your questions. Any more questions, let us know. And, well, it looks like, Kevin, that we are, ready to, go. It looks like everybody's kind of got an idea. Oh, look, somebody's already said something. What is it? We got, okay. They say, okay, basically, trust that you enjoyed it all. That was you.
Yeah. That's me. Yeah.
Got it. Okay. All right. Awesome. Okay. So, well then, I thoroughly enjoyed your session, Kevin. It was definitely enlightening. And now here's what's going to happen. See, now if you are watching this, you're going to look over to the left-hand side of your screen. Okay. So you guys see the left-hand side of your screen? Okay, there's a couple of buttons on there. The first button is reception, then it says sessions, then it says lounge, and then it says arena. So right now, what you're going to do is you're going to go into the arena. Now, if you want to talk to Kevin personally, he's going to be in the gamification booth. All right, and the gamification booth has the gamification certification. So if you're a trainer or an in-house trainer or a private trainer, and you want to basically get certified in work gamification, okay, online and off, okay, you can talk to Kevin about that. There is also the possibilities, of course, if you want to have any gamification projects in your organization, that is something that we can also look at. So you can just talk to Kevin on that. In the gamification booth. Now, I am going to be in the DC psychology booth because DC psychology, all of the gamification stuff that we'll be talking about and, is based on DC or directive communication psychology. And there are going to be other booths there that you can talk to people about. So just move over into the arena and we will meet you there. Okay. So unless there is anything else, okay, it says thanks. Okay, we just got a few people saying thank you. So awesome. See you all later in the arena, and we'll be back at 3 o'clock with Daryl Tan. Okay, yes, okay. So Tim, yes, we're going to be back at 3 o'clock right in the next session. So you go to sessions and you got to make sure you pick the next session, okay, so the one with the blue button. it will have that section. So make sure you go back to the session section at 3 o'clock to get to the next session. Meanwhile, feel free to join us in the arena. Okay, bye-bye.